Hello and welcome to this edition of BizTalk on CGTN. I'm Guanxin in Beijing. Today we're going to talk about Metaverse. If you're interested in technology, you probably have heard a lot about the word recently. Metaverse became a buzzword last year, especially after Facebook announced that it was rebranding it from a social media giant to a Metaverse company. And this year, the word Metaverse is poised to gain more traction, with the latest headline being Microsoft to buy Activision Blizzard for 68.7 billion US dollars in the biggest gaming industry deal so far, as the tech giant stakes its claim to a virtual future. So what exactly is Metaverse? How transformative will it be to society and industry? Where are we now, and what are the challenges and risks? To answer these questions, joining me today are three special guests. Sun Wei, emerging technologies researcher and distinguished mentor at Stanford University, and Zeno He, Omniverse business lead of NVIDIA in China, and Song Ting, AI and NFT artist. Well, thank you all for your time today. So let's start with the basics. What is Metaverse? So, Ms. Sun, the Metaverse is still a relatively abstract concept to many of the public. Help us better understand it.
For sure. So the word meta means beyond, and the verse is short for universe. So the concept of metaverse is not really new. It's dated back to 1992, a sci-fi novel called A Snow Crash. So in this novel, it envisions a 3D virtual world where people from physical worlds can interact through their avatars. So right now, I think the concept metaverse is more of an ever-evolving digital realm that is interconnected and interoperable, intelligent, and also immersive. So eventually it will blend people's virtual existence with their physical ones. So why metaverse now? I think many people ask that. I think because right now a web of emerging technologies such as blockchain, AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, even robotics and the 5G communications are all progressing rapidly. And right now they're start to support these features of metaverse and bring them into reality. So that's quite exciting.
Mm-hmm. Wow, very exciting indeed. And Mr. He, what is your understanding of Metaverse and its controversy? You know that analysts say that Metaverse is a decade away, and Meta hopes that by then the Metaverse will reach 1 billion people, host billions of dollars of digital commerce, and support jobs for millions of people. But Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has said that the Metaverse is more of a marketing buzzword than a practical concept. What is your take?
As in my opinion, metaverse is not just a concept. I think it is a collection of many technologies. I would like to share two understanding. First one is what is metaverse, and the second is why so many people talk about this topic last year. First of all, metaverse is such a concept that's difficult to define. Everyone has his or her own understanding on metaverse, and possibly might live in his or her specific metaverse. Just to share some of my personal points of view, I think the metaverse in English might differ from what is represented in Chinese. Here, meta in Chinese is called yuan. 1,000 years ago, in Zhou the Book of Changes, or ancient recorded their understanding of yuan. Yuan represents the beginning of the world. It is a big concept, also means the start of all the positive and the goodness. Therefore, I think what we understand the 元宇宙 should be a word of harmony or balance. It is the balance of digital and real world. Also, it is the balance of objective existence and subjective willingness. So meanwhile, it should be positive. That's to say, no matter how developed things and tech, it should always serve and benefit the goodness of mankind. Second, Metaverse is a digital world that people believe could be created by merging multi-tech. For years, this tech from different areas running and improving on their own track. Coming to 2021, this tech become more and more mature together with the ecosystem around them. All the quantitative change are convincing people to believe the metaverse could be realized for sure. For example, I working on the business of professional graphic visualization in China, which is to digitize to objectives and make them as real as possible. It has been many years for the research of graphic visualization technology. In 2018, we announced the tech of real-time ray tracing technology globally. Since then, we have been a lot of great work become so real. Another example is AI tech, machine learning, and deep learning, almost same time already with graphic visualization. AI is developing so fast that we can see so many applications of AI in our daily life. So now the question is, this two type of tech seems no relevance to each other, and they are developing their own applications. Think if the two tech merges together, what kind of new application would come? We can do virtual production, which transfer our body movement to the virtual production environment through camera or iPad using our AI pose and apply real-time ray tracing for rendering. We can make a special effect video in different places without real traveling to the place. This is an interaction between the digital world and the physical world. Well, let's imagine that if we integrate professional graphic visualization, AI, XR, physical simulation, and computing power, and blockchain, and other technologies, we can do a lot of things. For example, we recently made digital avatars, a digital factory like BMW, and the digital twin Earth that we can predict climate data now. So to sum up, it is a quantitative change of multiple tech result in lots of new applications. And the merge of new tech promotes the burn of a lot new things and concepts. Therefore, more and more people discuss these new things and new concepts. So I will say that the digital world is coming. Also, digital tech will help us in the future. Thank you.
Indeed, technology is key to metaverse development, and we look forward to more applications and more experiences. And Ms. Song, what is your thinking? Will it usher in an era of mass adoption and barrier-free digital interaction, or will it be a niche product or many niche products reserved for gamers and future tech enthusiasts?
Thanks, Jin. That's a very good question. I think in the future, for the whole metaverse industry, user experience will definitely be more friendly. Larger adoption than before will be inevitable, but there will still be tech barriers on fetching some, like latest news, the most insightful predictions, because innovation inside the metaverse world industry will not stop. Knowing about its latest innovations means you have already known more tech than others in some ways. But when it comes to Gen Z, we have to admit that Metaverse may already start its journey as a niche, geeks fun product. But for Gen Z, those who are so familiar with mobile electronic devices since 2 or 3 years old, it may mean that the tech enthusiastic, we call them today, maybe the majority of them, when they have been grown ups. After all, Metaverse has relation to future consumptions. Any brands will not let themselves miss it. So I think finally there will be a larger word for more people, but in multi-center way. That will be a Metaverse future image for myself.
Very interesting. And Ms. Sun, where are we now in terms of the stages of the Metaverse development? Are we still in the infancy?
Yes, I think we're still in the very early stage of the metaverse, but that means that there are so many possibilities for metaverse to build, in utopian way or dystopian way. So we have to be aware that what we do right now put a significant impact in the future of the metaverse developments.
But why is it so important if we are so early at its development? Why is it important to a lot of people working to make it a reality?
I think people are seeing the metaverse and also the next generation internet, the Web3, as the next big thing. People, especially tech companies, are persuaded that a lot of technologies, emerging technologies, coming to mature, such as AI, blockchain, and virtual reality. So whatever the company, developed a compelling metaverse product first, will have a very big first mover advantage. So I think that's why there are a lot of investments and the buzz around it, and we'll talk that more later, maybe. Yeah.
And Mr. Ho, what is Omniverse? Do you think Omniverse will ultimately become a reality?
The media Omniverse is a platform that we can integrate professional visualization technology and AI and XR and computing power technology. So we can using Omniverse platform to create a digital asset, digital avatars, digital factories. So this is a platform.
Okay, well, a bit abstract, but we'll see what will happen in the future. And Ms. Song, what do you think about the future of Metaverse? How much time do you think that people will spend their time in Metaverse? And what things or experiences that this world have to offer? And what would be the things that people can experience in it?
That's a very good question because I think the Metaverse world will give more space and friendly, open-minded encouragement to the non-mainstream culture. As my own practice, a lot of developing countries' crypto artists chose them out of their own will. So the answer for me, maybe it depends for each human being's will. Yeah.
Wow, indeed. Well, that's the choice of people. And you know that leaders across diverse industries, including blockchain, gaming, arts, retail, fashion, healthcare, and more, you name it, are digging deep in to understand the immersive world of the metaverse and how to position themselves as key players in an emerging ecosystem. Ms. Sun, is there too much of hype? Are you concerned about the amount of investment pouring into the industry?
Well, I would think yes and no to that question. So first of all, we've seen a lot of investments are poured into metaverse world. Corporate investments are poured into developing this emerging technologies and product planning. We've seen individual investors spend tens of thousands of dollars purchasing virtual land, collecting this fashionable items or digital arts. And we also see some governments are embracing this concept of metaverse. For example, Barbados plans to establish their first digital embassy in Decentraland, which is a metaverse platform. And also the Seoul City from South Korea also initiated this 5-year plan for metaverse to embrace this concept and bring a new age public service to their netizens of South Korea. So all of these are fascinating. I think it's great to see the ecosystems and the technologies are attracting so many attentions and the investment But on the other hand, I've also seen companies rebranding or labeling them as Metaverse company without offering any core Metaverse products. And then their company valuation go multifold, and I think I'm concerned about that kind of hype. I think eventually those companies or market players will give Metaverse a very bad name because they're not doing anything but kind of taking advantage of the buzzword.
Right, we should be wary about that. And Mr. He, analysts
Yeah.
say a new global infrastructure based on massive computing power should support leading chip makers like NVIDIA and Intel. How is NVIDIA cashing in the opportunity?
Yes, we don't just have the computing power and the infrastructure hardware. We also have many software stacks to meet customers' demands. NVIDIA is an AI computing platforms company with full software stacks. Back to your question, how do we serve our customer from digital transformation to creating a digital world? We can see for the new digital economy, the one who creates and more use the new technology will bring to life new application faster. We believe in the new digital world, it is fair to everyone to create new content. And that's why we are trying to best to introducing better AI, helping people create a digital asset easier and faster, making it possible for everyone to become an engineer, designer, or artist, unleashing the other side. And no matter how developed the tech, it serves and benefits for human being, and definitely will be dominated by human being. Personal, I think digital worlds in future must have 5 key elements beyond the very basic 3 digital human objectives and environment. There are also another 2 quite critical. One is the people's belief and culture. The other one is digital economic system. The first 3 could be called digital assets, while the fourth one is kind of know-how, which could be trained by AI. Maybe many years later, your kids could experience exactly what you have experienced by AI, rather than we are doing with book and other 2D elements. Last but not least, the 5th one is a system which empowers us to trade in a virtual world. I think the most potential one should be digital human. Here we refer to AI digital human. It could help people to make speech, to communicate, to run meeting like the day meeting, to release people from the daily routine, and focus on the real creative and meaningful things. And if someday your digital avatars could digitize and visualize your health index family, we would understand more on how to maintain a better health condition and prevent from disease. According to a latest report, the digital human market size would reach up to $500 billion globally by 2028. The forecast share some point AI digital human is the most potential one. So we provide the Omniverse platform as we provide the AI, XR, computing power, quantum computing, SDK, professional graphic visualization, physical simulation, etc. technology. Omniverse provides a tech platform for everyone. It is a toolkit for co-creating Metaverse or 元宇宙. Omniverse had been developed 5 years ago. It had been extending functions to provide better experience for users. Every day, there are people creating to digital world of their own, we're contributing for the general digital world. I think in current stage, we did better focus on the technologies that could generate real demand. In this case, timing wouldn't be a problem. So to sum up, I would like to say that NVIDIA will provide a better technology platform to meet the demand of customer now and the future, in my opinion.
Well, very fantastic technology. But Mr. He, please forgive me for this question because I think what you mentioned, the digital human is very exciting. But is it possible that AI becomes so sophisticated that they will take over the metaverse?
That's impossible. And I think digital human, maybe everyone have their digital human, digital avatars in the future.
Okay, well, at least it's still a long time away. Well, Ms. Song, you are an artist. Tell us, how are you working with Metaverse? And what do you, in your opinion, what kind of companies is better positioned to capitalize on this concept, apart from VR, AR device makers?
First, I cooperated with so many AIs on blockchain or off blockchain. Second, I held digital art exhibition all over the crypto voxels, Decentraland, all the famous blockchain-based metaverse over 50 times. And I think I had over 500,000 audiences in total all over the world. So that's my job, how they got their relationship with Metaverse. And for the next question, what kind of companies better positioned in the coming Metaverse era, apart from hardware makers? And my answer will be, I think all emerging consumer brands will benefit from the Metaverse trends, game companies included. And I think there will be a new concept, culture and entertainment industry. There will be huge involvement, and there will be a new concept games too. Meanwhile, I think the smaller, smarter, more creative studio, especially young studio, fit in the Metaverse era the most. Compared with the big companies, actually the young people, they have more flexibilities. And I have to say that these days I had a talk with former Guggenheim ex-Asia board creator Victoria Lu, and she said to me that there will be a new curate strategies, a new concept curator in Metaverse too. And I think, as the example said, the new jobs will emerge. That will be very interesting. And finally, my personal perspective, I was looking forward to the Metaverse community operation commercial brands who is capable of large-scale global influence. I think they will earn their names too. That's my answer.
Oh, very interesting. And Ms. Lin, tech giants such as Meta, Google, Apple have joined the competition to build the virtual future. The recent headline comes from Microsoft in what would be Microsoft's largest transaction to date. It will acquire Activision Blizzard for $95 share in an all-cash transaction value at $68.7 billion. A very big deal. How does this mega deal mean for Microsoft and the industry?
I think this is definitely the first major deal this year for Metaverse and also for the tech industry. For the past history of the acquisition, Microsoft typically used the cash, transactions methods, and also added a up to 50% premiums, let's say, for acquiring LinkedIn dated back to 2016. So those very typical for Microsoft, but I see this deal signals two important aspects. So the first aspect is that there is an intensified competition among the big tech, namely the Meta, Apple, and even Tencent from China. And Microsoft definitely felt the pressure with developing this kind of metaverse strategy. And the gaming industry is such an interesting frontier of the metaverse development. And Tencent is notably is the first and largest gaming publisher in the world. By acquiring the Activision, and Microsoft will become the third largest gaming companies in the world after Tencent and Sony. So I think this gives a very strategic move for Microsoft to better position themselves as in the metaverse. The second perspective, I think, for the Activision itself is that the company lacks a series of emerging technologies in order to outcompete its peers. For example, it lacks the deep machine learning capabilities, the data analytics, the high performance computing platform, the cloud computing platforms, and also a high level of cybersecurity, which can all be offered by Microsoft. So I think the deal is a win-win situation. But it's worth noting that right after the acquisition announcement, the U.S. Senate committee voted on the antitrust bill. I think this is a very interesting timing, and maybe it could potentially harm the deal for Microsoft, and we'll have to see. So it's not 100% certain that the acquisition will go through, in my opinion. Yeah.
And Mr. He, what other opportunities do you see with the metaverse?
Yes, I would like to share my experience. I hope that there would be more things relative to my hobbies in the digital world. For example, I am a basketball fan. I keep on studying and learn from the sports data of the basketball start. I hope there would be some 3D digital assets provided or available, such as the jump shot collection of Michael Jordan, which could be visualized by AR glasses family on my training ground, rather than what have to do now, setting down or find my iPhone and search for relative videos and watch it, and they then back to training differently. So I would like to pay for such a 3D asset for the value it's created for me. So everyone has their own needs. So I believe the application who could better keep improving the user experience would gain bigger scale. This is exactly what the short video and the online shopping platform practicing. So I think many opportunity and everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe a multi-billion-dollar one. Well, Ms. Song, for ordinary investors, I mean ordinary people, is it risky to invest in Metaverse? We have heard reports about people buying like real estate in Metaverse. Do you recommend doing that?
Actually, it's risky indeed. For the ordinary investors, pay attention to that because many innovations happening in Metaverse are just booming now at the moment. In my eyes, I think the Metaverse should have healthy creator economy. Meanwhile, a very programmable scalability. Those two things are very important. So although it's very risky, but if you are truly trusting yourself's ability, you may have a try. Because if there will be a healthier creator economy and programmable scalability platform, which means a new firm commerce, boom. So for those building innovations, wider investors could figure out, oh, the founding team, they have a strong ability to grow into products and change the digital life of people. That's a question. And I think all the investors who are interested in Metaverse investment should have the professional skills, especially basic knowledge based on hardware technology and software technology at the same time. Secondly, they should have very, very deep interest into the international community. They have to study and observe how other Metaverse lovers, users think the founding team's enthusiasm and ability is enough. So that's my whole opinion on that.
Indeed, I think there is very valuable advice for our viewers. And as buzz around the metaverse increases, many are raising concerns about the potential risks in an environment where the boundaries between the physical and virtual worlds continue to blur. So, Ms. Sun, constructing trusted ecosystem for the metaverse is a critical consideration. Do you think ultimately an internet based on blockchain technology will be decentralized or controlled by big tech? Is it something that we should worry about?
Yeah, I think there will be an ongoing battle between the big tech and those blockchain-enabled technology companies and the startups. And frankly, each of them have their very unique competitive edges. For big tech, they have enormous resources in terms of financial resources or technology resources to provide a long-term product upgrades for their users, maximum or utilize their user experiences in the exchange of users' data through their centralized systems. For blockchain-enabled startups and technology companies, they are encouraging this community-based, decentralized, trustless, and open platforms for their users. So they will reward their users based on their participation or creativity of the community without owning their personal data. So I think those two place very significant differences in two parts. But I'm quite worried about the privacy and the cybersecurity aspects brought up by the big tech, especially in Metaverse. If the issue will be exponentially worse if left unchecked by the big techs. So I think regulators and maybe the whole society needs to monitor this very closely, and regulators may need to step in if necessary.
Indeed. Well, regulation is very important for the metaverse future development. And Mr. Hud, it is likely that many people spend more time blending offline and virtual interactions, moving towards a mixed reality. How should we handle the relation between the virtual world and the real world? Do you think that we should be worried about that the virtual world would take over the real world?
This is a very important topic and questions. How to balance the relationship between the virtual world and the real world. Just we mentioned the 元宇宙. I think what we understand the 元宇宙should be a world of harmony. It is a harmony or balance of digital and the real world. Also, it is the harmony of objective existence and subjective wellness. Meanwhile, it should be positive. That's say, no matter how developed science and tech, it should we always serve and benefit the goodness of mankind. I will share the 元宇宙 state and what are we need to balance between virtual and real world. First of all, speaking, it is a very early stage. However, some industry has progressed quite fast. As you know, the developments of a digital world lead by the demand of a specific industry. In fact, Some industries had create their own digital world and the metaverse, such as some factories of manufacturing. The digital twins tech is needed to map the production process, which help to optimize production tech, improve and reduce cost. The key challenge for digital twins factory now is the problem of running big data. Our Omniverse platform could solve this pain point through open source USB and MDR technologies, and make it easier to operate and modify models with big data. It will accelerate the industrial metaverse. One more example is the retail industry. In the age of 4G and the mobile internet, people shopping online, watching movies and enjoy music, and with the support of 2D data. No matter the music, movie, or products in online shopping cart, they are 2D data. We had foreseen the next generation of internet would be 3D data based. In the new age of 5G and Web 3, people experiencing immersive shopping by AI and AR, etc. technology. For sure, there are even more tech which are not mature yet, and the ecosystem hasn't built yet. Some applications are not attractive enough for users' immersive experience. Therefore, it needs some time for digital world to further growing, and highly possibly the lead time for different industries are different. Some might need 3 to 5 years. Some take even more, might be 10 or 20 years. The second, what we need to manage, share a real story. Weeks ago, I with my daughter to class, which lasts around maybe 2 hours. I'm super excited for that. A little boy kept playing his mobile game for 2 hours.
That's not
The
good.
little boy, the little boy indulged in his own digital game world. Should we manage? Definitely. So just these things are affecting the health of kids and teenagers. It should and must be managed.
Right.
So I think that the health in real world is very important, both physical health and mental health. It is the base to deal with the relationship with virtual world. To sum up, we need positive, kind, beautiful things, and we want new technology to help us be more positive, more kind, and make the world more beautiful in the future digital world, in my opinion.
And the double edge of the technology, and I would say no to immersive shopping. I already think I spend too much time on Taobao. Can't afford a more addictive one. And Ms. Song, how do you think about the relationship? Will there be emotional or psychological concerns that we should be wary of?
For myself, because my my role is very special. I'm a AI and a video artist. So in my daily life, I take blockchain as my canvas, AI as my brushes, and Metaverse as my galleries. And in myself experience, when I was getting along with my own art Metaverse, there may not be perfect AR, VR tech, but there will be the real connection among human beings' heart and human beings' heart, because I collected over 20 countries' crypto artists' work, digital works, indeed. So I think the question is very interesting because I think in our digital era, we need a real philosophy involvement too, because if a simulation of the physical world becomes so complex, it's no longer virtual in some way. Its own reality. It is own reality, a kind of hyper reality. And for myself, when it comes to blockchain technology and AI technology, I think the NFT is the infrastructure of an AIGC area. When Xin talks about AI human beings with Zeno He, I heard the answer from Zeno that the answer is no. But for myself, the AI generated content is indeed and it's happening because I use AI as my tools every day. In my eye, if we do have a metaverse, the AI content will be necessarily needed, and the NFTs maybe the promised land's oxygen, because according to South Africa Intellectual Property Office and India Congress, last year autumn's their judgment, their decisions, they like AI themselves share a piece of intellectual property. So when the digital year just come to us, we have to face it. It's a fact. And yes, for sure, there will be a lot of reality apathy for the kids. And that's something we have to face together, because when Gen Z, they're 2 or 3 years old, they just holding the telephone all day. That's a fact we have to face. And I think the ethic education needs to be prepared in advance and in very urgent need. Right. Because I have to teach my kids in the future what is human in physical world and what's the kind of human I will love. And that's a thing I want to teach there first. And I think all the human beings living today in the earth, our ultimate path to the metaverse is to gain a better life for humans. It's not a goal, it's a way to let ourselves have a more sustainable and happier life. So I think all the researchers, all the artists and other technology practitioners, they have to pay attention to the ethic education for the metaverse happening.
Well said. They're both opportunities and challenges. And that's all the time we have for today. And thank you all for your great insights. Song Wei, emerging technologies researcher and a distinguished mentor at Stanford University, Zeno He, Omniverse business lead of NVIDIA in China, and Song Ting, AI and NFT artist. And that's all for this edition of BizTalk on CGTN. Thanks for being with us. Until next time, bye for now.